Here we go. Hello, everybody. Peter the Cat, back again. All right. Oh, shoot. I just realized. I made a bit of a mistake setting up everything. I just remember, I plugged in my camera, but, excuse me, I'll have to unplug my, tablet, because I forgot if I'm going to play a trailer. My speaker needs to be plugged in. Okay, I think it's this one. Hopefully it works in this one. Come on. Yeah, sorry for the delays. Yeah, I'm trying to... Come on. Yeah, I'm trying to plug in my... Do I have this upside down? There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm going to react to the trailer for Superman, like the new one. I mean, I've done trailer reactions for some of the Marvel movies, like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. I might as well be fair and also give DC their fair due. Before I do, though, I want to show something off. Another art project that my artist GuineaPigDan did. You know, with the puppets and everything. He showed off the alligator head, but this is another thing that he did with a friend. It's supposed to be a creature called a silkai. It's some sort of fantasy thing. But the idea is it's going to be like a marionette. It's not going to be like a Muppet, moving mouth type of puppet. It still needs to be sanded down and smoothed out. And you can see it doesn't really have a mouth, but it's not going to be opening anyway. And the idea was we were going to paint it on. Although GuineaPigDan's friend might want to do another version. So this might not be the version that's actually used, but still, it's pretty neat. This is we use a concoction of some sort where if you look very carefully, you could probably make out like paper. Yeah, it's basically like paper mache kind of with a weird glue substance put on top of it. And yeah, but hopefully hopefully these come out fine. You can actually, on the back, you can kind of still make out some of the paper. Yeah, I don't know how close I have to hold it up to the camera, but anyway, I just wanted to show that off. Yeah, there's something strange and unusual. But anyway, let's stop delaying things. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, Paw Day is coming up. Yeah, and also Fanime is also coming up. Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like the furry conventions are catching on to, my tactics. I just FWA banned me. I tried to go as like Pedro El Gato, Pietro El Chat, like every name in the book, but they kept figuring out it was me, and I told Garfield, you know what, let's just forget it. But it seems like calling myself Neko no Pita, like Fanime couldn't figure out who I was, and I managed to, get into that con. And so I don't have a table there, I'll just be attending. So I don't know, if there's any furries that like going to Fanime, anime cons or something, I guess maybe you'll see me there. Yeah, along with Garfield. So let's stop delaying, and I'm watching a stream on the side. Yeah. Pictara stream. But anyway, let me bring up the Superman trailer. I've not pre-watched this. I don't know what it's going to be like. First let me shrink the frame down. Okay. Look at that. It's just an unending an unending tunnel of live streams you're watching here. Infinite Peters. And an infinite regress. Okay, so let me double check one thing. Yeah, desktop audio. Just make sure that this isn't too loud. Anyway, let's see. Reacting to the Superman trailer. that out of the way. Okay, here we go. Just so you know, all I know is that this was originally called Superman Legacy, but then James Gunn changed it for whatever reason to just Superman. It's kind of confusing because we already have the Superman movie from the 70s. They're putting in several other DC characters like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, and I guess to kind of set up a future, DC cinematic universe. But they're not showing us Batman or Wonder Woman just yet. I guess they just want to, I don't know, not repeat the mistakes of the Snyder cinematic universe or whatever. But anyway, let's go. DC Studios.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
Sure.
Well, he was interviewed in the 1978 movie also.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some might. It's a lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny?
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
Wow.
Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
of
anybody except for me.
around the world.
And doing good.
Wow, this is a kind of a...
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
This is a much more emotional Superman. I guess to really, really contrast themselves with the Snyder version of Superman, who's more stoic.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
There's Crypto.
Your choices. Your actions.
Oh, there's that
What makes you
weird eyeball thing.
who you are.
Recreating the credits of the 70s movie.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it.
Oh, really,
Become the focal point of the entire
really
world's
showing
conversation.
Superman getting his ass beaten.
I will not accept that.
Lex looking pretty mad.
I'll go get him for you.
Oh wow, Superman beating up a kaiju. There's Guy Gardner. One of the... I'm not sure if that was Hawkman or Heart Girl, and they're replaying the old John Williams theme. Oh.
You have a dog?
July 11th. That's... Yeah, July 11th. That's kind of a strange date. Anyway, that was an interesting trailer. I liked it better than the previous trailers, which were more vague. Seeing a bit more of the movie. Yeah. Right. It looks interesting. I mean, I trust James Gunn. I think he did a fine job on the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And I saw the Suicide Squad. That was much better than the first Suicide Squad movie, but that's not that's a low bar to clear. And Crypto does look adorable. I mean, and Garfield says he wishes they had, I don't know, Crypto the Super Cat or something. Although, if they had a Super Cat, it would just sleep all day. Like, even a super-powered cat isn't going to bother, like, trying to save anyone. It'll just, I don't know, sleep all day and wait for Superman to feed it or something. Yeah, and it looks like they have some sort of kaiju thing. Like, how many villains are in this movie exactly? We have Lex Luthor. I haven't read the wiki page on like every character that's appearing in the movie, so we have Lex Luthor, who's not acting like a total freak like Jesse Eisenberg's version of the character. And we have that kaiju thing. We have other DC heroes like Guy Gardner, and I don't know if they're going to be opposing Superman or something, but then eventually they're like, okay, well, now we accept you. Yeah. July 11th is kind of an awkward date, because if you remember, my artist GuineaPigDan had jury duty last month, and since he was excused and everything, he's no longer bound by the secret to not talk about the case. But anyway, my artist looked at, like, he Google searched if the case was concluded, and it's like, yeah, it's over. The defendant's getting sentenced on July 11th, so unfortunately that guy is going to miss seeing Superman. Well, trying to think anything else I want to talk about. I mean, I'm not too familiar with Superman, like the history of Superman, other than knowing you start in the 30s and everything. So I'm some of the bigger comic geeks, like Keyblade Raccoon, might pick up on some of the Easter eggs that I didn't notice. But the most interesting thing to me in that trailer is just Superman's interview where he's getting really riled up with Lois Lane. I'd seen I don't remember if it was a Midnight's Edge video or something saying that Superman is going to confront cancel culture or something. And, and apparently it's inspired from how when James Gunn, his temporary cancellation from Marvel, because he made some kind of filthy jokes on Twitter, it wouldn't be a decade ago. It would be now 15 or 20 years ago now. It's been that long ago, but yeah. I can see how James Gunn's temporary cancellation could have influenced that Superman having a blow up like that. That is not something I really expected. I mean, let's see. You have Henry Cavill's Superman that people found too distant and stoic, and people felt like that wasn't Superman. But now we have the very kind of the opposite almost, where he's a lot more emotional and maybe people might think that's not Superman either. And it's not like he's trying to. Lois already knows that Clark is super. Does she know? I mean, if he's dressed up as Clark Kent, then yeah, Lois would know Superman's secret identity here. So it's not like I don't know. This could be a very interesting, different interpretation of Superman here that we're gonna get. So I am interested to see what this movie does. Yeah. I guess Superman's a symbol of hope, so I am optimistic. More optimistic for this movie than for Avengers Doomsday, which I said in my last stream that I'm worried that movie's going to be a clusterfuck, because they're just going to shove way too much stuff into that movie, and it looks like Superman maybe could also overstuffing it a bit, having all the other heroes and everything, and I don't know how many villains, but I don't know. I trust James Gunn. I think he's going to do a good job. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, I have a cell phone here with photo reps. I should probably, let's see, what's chat saying? Shut down your life. Yeah. Oh, Ken, you're not into superheroes? Oh, well, then I guess everything I'm saying is basically alien language. Do I have to define what Superman is? Superman is a superhero created in 1938, I think, by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, and is basically the archetype of most superheroes that we think of. Super strength, bulletproof, can fly, etc., etc., heat vision, X-ray vision, and if you go in the Silver Age of comics, tons and tons of more superpowers, like shooting rainbows from his fingertips. I don't know. I probably shouldn't confuse you that much. Just going into things like the Golden Age or the Silver Age or Bronze Age, or pre-crisis and post-crisis versions of Superman, or pre-crisis and post-crisis versions of all the other heroes. Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's too many sequels, like Flashpoint and everything. Yeah, so. El Chubbo. Oh, is that GuineaPigDan's brother? Oh. Kind of. Oh, Ken's asking what's jury duty. Well, El Chubbo answered, but jury duty is when you get a little letter in the mail basically telling you that, I don't know, some courthouse wants, 12 saps to sit on a jury and basically listen to a court case and vote guilty or not guilty if it's a criminal case, or liable or not liable if it's a civil case, where there is no crimes in a civil case. I think it's just, I don't know, whoever loses has to pay a bunch of money to someone. Okay. I should probably start the art stream portion. I'll have to go fetch GuineaPigDan. Yeah, I stuff him in the closet once again. And hopefully he keeps his mouth shut. But, okay. I should go get him. Come here, you! Get out there! Move! 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 Peter, stop! Please! No! No! No, not again! Get out there now! Stop, Peter! Sorry, I just find this really fun. Jeez. That cat is crazy. Hello, everybody. I am fortunately in one piece. Where are my glasses? Okay. Oh, hey, look. This is a little puppet thing I made. Wait, did Peter already talk about that? I couldn't hear when I was in the closet. It was all muffled. Huh. Oh, the new Superman trailer came out, too. Wait, did Peter go over that already also? Shit. Oh, well. Anyway. Let's, Well, I've never been to Buc-ee's. This is just a shirt my parents got me some time ago. I don't know. I mean, it's got a beaver on it. It's furry related. I don't know. Maybe I could go on to Fur Affinity or something and search Buc-ee's and find a lot of very interesting fan art of the beaver. Okay. Oh. Just alright, just checking out Pictaro. But anyway, well, before I have to ban another spam bot, Adventurous Bill Chijwugfo 13E. Well, you're banned for having an unpronounceable name. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if there's any Buc-ee's near where I live, but I don't know if well, since it says Texas, I forget. I think either my mom might have bought this in Texas or something. But if I go to a Buc-ee's in Texas, I'll be sure to bring this shirt with me. I don't know, just to blend in or something. All right. Oh. Trouble says, well, how do I mod someone? Mod. Oh, there we go. Add as a mod. There this is nepotism, because El Chubbo is related to me. Alrighty. Let's just... Oh, I wanted to read something. Like, I came across, nepotism. That's when you, like when you promote someone because they're like your best friend or a family member or something, if I remember. I hope I'm using the right word. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But I thought of like reading this crazy comment on DeviantArt I saw a while ago that I thought was funny. I'm not gonna say who the user is, but I'll just give a little bit of backstory. So, like, I saw this artist that was on DeviantArt that was talking about difficulties they had with other users on DeviantArt, and apparently this one user was like this weird Trump apologist and January 6th defender. They got into an argument, and the person they were arguing with just posted something. I'm not going to say who this is, but they just posted something that outrageous that I wanted to try and read in an anime villain voice, or maybe just a regular villain voice, since we're talking Superman, Lex Luthor, and everything. I want to read this in just like an over-the-top villain voice. So here we go. They got into an argument or something about January 6th, and one person was basically like, you shouldn't defend him, and this is the maggot. I was about to say a much more offensive word, but I saved myself there. Yeah, and just read their craziness. Of all the people I've encountered in my time on the internet, you're somewhere in the bottom 1,000. You are scum, and sadly, not even exceptional scum. Your opinions are bad. You should be shamed into oblivion. But there's no amount of reasoning with someone like you. You support outright revisionist history, government psyops to justify an overreaching police state, an unpersoning of people who disagree with your vitriolic and wicked politics in even the most minor ways. As horrible as you are, I don't want your civil rights suspended, but of course, my side in politics have always been the good guys, and yours have always been the bad guys. Was true in the 80s, was true in the Civil Rights era, was true in the Civil War era, it was true in the Revolutionary War, was true in conquistadors, colonialists versus natives, was true in crusaders versus barbaric caravan robbers. I have the moral background to only want you punished for your crimes you actually have committed. Right at this moment, demons are salivating at a chance to chew up your soul upon your death, and the blood of Jesus Christ is the only escape! Dude needs to touch grass. Like, I don't know. If I ever do like chick tract readings, like these things, if you don't know what those are, like I might read those in dramatic voices if, I don't know, if a demon ever appears or something. Yeah. Yeah, I only got like, I have a couple copies of That Was Your Life, but 3 of them, wow. Like, how did I get 3 of these? One of these I remember I like picked up from a guy in San Francisco, and I think the others were just left at work or something. I don't know. This is something unusual to collect. And then there's this one. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to Japanesing. All right. Let's shrink. Oops, it disappeared somehow. Alrighty. Alright. So, last time I left off, I was drawing Basho here. Oh yeah, I need a... Stupid cat. Unplugged my tablet. There we go. There we are. got photo refs on my phone here. Yeah, just posing the same way as the characters. I mean, if I wanted to be really, really accurate with proportions and everything, I'd like do grids and everything, but I'm not doing that detailed. Whoa! How'd that happen? Why is that so thick? How thin do I have this? Is there a pressure sensitivity thing? Yeah, because normally the pen tool isn't normally like that. Is there a setting on? Oh, wow! I can see my. Yeah, touch. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like how to do pressure sensitivity, because this is not pressure sensitive right now. I don't remember if there was a certain setting. Is there a setting in yeah. It looks like I'm having some technical difficulties. Like, I wanted maybe yeah, how do I there we go. Figured it out. What's this? Oh. Yeah, if I go over my drawings of my dragon characters, I'm sure like I'm going to be inconsistent with things like how long their whiskers are. I wish I could find the old shirt I had from karate that inspired Basho with a Japanese dragon on it. I've mentioned before in a previous stream that I think I lost that shirt, but I've tried to look for it on like Google, like searching the karate dojo I used to go to, and like look up old shirts, and unfortunately I couldn't find the particular shirt I was thinking of. Like, I'm not sure if, I don't know, is that a shirt that's just not made anymore? I mean, it would have been something I had, like, what, 2 decades ago? Okay, just making some adjustments to Basho's nose. Oh, thank you, Ken. Yeah, I have thought of like doing animation streams. I'm not exactly sure how I do them. Like, do I just show a pixel animation or something? I can just do that in GIMP. Or do I like, do I put the camera over my shoulder and I show myself drawing on paper or something? The pixel animations, might just be like 3 or 5 frames, just doing a blink or something, but eventually I would like to do something a little bit more complicated. I'm just trying to think. Like, Kind of bring up a picture of Basho on my phone. Ooh, some of the favorite. That looks good. Yeah, I got a little distracted by some furry art. But what I wanted to do is just... Like, sometimes I reference older drawings of my characters to help me. That might seem a bit... Oh, I just realized, looking at one of my a picture of Basho I posted, like, there's a little off-model thing. Like, I gave him really little nostrils, but normally, if you look at how I draw my dragons, I give them very subtle, different changes between them, so they each look a little bit distinct. And one of the things I do with Basho is I give him, like longer-looking nostrils. And I just realized on this picture I posted for Affinity, he's got short nostrils, so I should probably fix that. Stretch his face out a little bit. Make his head a little bigger. I think I might want to make his lower jaw a bit longer also. Hand-drawn GIF. No, I was talking about like general animation streams, not just animation commissions. Yeah, I gotta fix his neck also. Made it too thin. There we go. There we go. That's a much nicer looking Basho than my initial sketch. I might move his whisker over a bit. In fact, I might do his whiskers last. Just there we go. watching a Pictaro stream by Ben the Dragon, like, a few days ago, or maybe yesterday. I mentioned to him that, like, drawing a reptilian head with their mouth open at certain angles is difficult, and he said, yeah, it takes practice. Not sure if I want to make his mouth a little longer or something. No, let's mirror it. Oh, shoot. It's very useful in Sketchbook Pro. Like, it saves your spot when you mirror an image. But with, no, not Sketchbook, it's Drawpile, yeah. It saves your spot, but with Sketchbook Pro, you, like, have to move over to the other side. Will I move Bosch's body down or not? I think it's alright. There we go. Yeah, I think I got his face looking. Might adjust his horns a bit. His horns don't look too bad. Like, I can sometimes have trouble drawing my dragon's horns, and what exactly should the back of their heads be shaped like? You know, should they have, like, you know, I don't know what they'd call, like, the base of where should their head stick out a little bit where the horn goes into their skull or something. That's something I might be a bit inconsistent on. I'm trying to decide how long should the horn be. And maybe I should, like, do a thing where I compare how my three dragons look, and, you know, these are the subtle differences between them. I think Bosch's horns look fine. Like let's save this. Like a little difference between Basho and my Chinese dragon, Yan, or if you want to go with the Chinese pronunciation, be closer to Yen. Like, I'm just gonna do a really fast. Like, for Yen, his horns are like, they go straight. Whereas with Basho's, they curve. And the reason why, aside from the obvious of, you know, making them a little bit distinct, if you look up the kanji for Basho, it's from the haiku poet. Also, that was his pen name. It means it refers to a type of banana plant, and so the idea is Basho, the dragon, has banana-shaped horns. Although I think the banana plant in Japan, like, it might not have been the same as bananas here in the West. I don't know. I'd have to look up Well, actually, wait. I could just look up the kanji for the particular plant. I could do that later. But anyway. Now, to make sure my characters, like their looks and their sizes, remain consistent from panel to panel, I'll often just adjust the nose there. What I'll do is I'll often copy and paste a copy of a panel and paste that over in the next panel. So I draw Basho like this. Like I'm gonna here. Actually, before I work on this panel, it might be easier if I do the drawings down here of Peter and looking at his phone and Peter writing in a notebook. Let's see. Do I have a picture of... Did I forget to take a reference photo of Peter on his phone? Oh, shoot. Yeah, I might have forgotten to take a picture of... Well, that's because I'm usually using my phone to take selfies, so unless I have someone else's phone... Huh. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't have to do every single drawing right now. But anyway, let's... Anyway, I'm gonna copy and paste Basho. Actually, it'd be easier if I just copy the layer. But you can see I've copied this layer several times. So let's see. And you compare that to my original sketches here. Is that my original? Yeah, but you can see like much nicer and toonier looking, especially with Basho. So anyway, okay. Yeah, trying to... Actually, wait. I'm going to delete this anyway. There, it's just... This is a layer. This is just going to be a ref layer. So I don't need the other drawings. They're saved on that. I guess I'll call this Peter Basho ref. And I'll copy this for the last page where it goes back to Peter and Basho looking at the notebook. I'll probably put this underneath and I'll color shift it in Photoshop later. Let's just let's make this drawing here look a little nicer. I got a reference for that. Actually, yeah, Peter looking bored. Now, how much time has passed? 54 minutes. I might pause the stream in a bit because again, I don't want these files to be too big when I repost them to YouTube. Yeah, so Peter is looking pretty rough here, and yeah, so I'll just Like when I first started this comic, originally I was going to just start with page 1 being the Japanese vowels, but then I decided to add this introduction. Yeah, I would just have Peter showing off the notebook to Basho, and then it goes immediately into the vowels, but then I decided to add this opening here that explains the Japanese writing system, like a basic, description of it. And I thought I'd add this bit where I explain one way to teach yourself Hiragana and Katakana. Just to be like, this is one way you can do it. There's probably other ways. I mean, probably the most efficient way would be taking actual Japanese lessons, but this is like, I don't know, let's say you're poor or something and can't afford lessons and you decide to just kind of do it yourself, which, is not exactly the best way to do it, but it's like, I don't know, a baby step. Look of determination on Peter's face. This is a determined cat. There we go. Alrighty, Ken. Go. I might try to think. Do I want to tilt Peter's head a bit? Just make it look more like he's looking down. Yeah, I do like that better. Go. Cheeks are all puffy. There we go. Yeah, sometimes a little difficulty. Might sometimes struggle with figuring out where to place Peter's nose. Like, do I put it at the top of his muzzle like this? Or do I put it lower? And since Peter's looking down, I was putting it lower. It's like facial features shift downward when the character looks down, although maybe I might make... There we go. Oops. I do like this stern-looking Peter. There we go. I was thinking of other, speaking of animation, like, another idea I had for a comic was, like, what if I did a comic illustrating the 12 principles of animation? Although, it might work easier if I, like, had that as an actual animation instead of a comic or something. But, you know, there's books like Disney's Illusion of Life that, you know, illustrates the 12 principles and everything. But there are some animation books that, like, come with CDs you can play that'll, like, have examples showing each principle. Just trying to decide, do I want to make it here bigger? Like a 12 principles of animation comic would be interesting, although I'm not sure if there's any characters that is like the artist of all my OCs. I do have one drawing I did like a decade ago where Peter's drawing in a sketchbook, but I haven't done that again ever since. I've not really established Peter being an artist. I'm not sure I've really given any of my characters occupations. Aside from, I don't know, gamer. There we go. An old show called Let's Learn Japanese, made in 1985. Maybe you could find it on YouTube. Oh, it is on YouTube. That should be interesting. I mean, I've watched YouTubers like, I think his name is Yuta, and other similar YouTubers that are like explaining Japanese for gaijin or something. Although, you know, this is a little different. This is like an outsider talking about how they self-taught themselves Kana characters, not a native speaker explaining the language to non-natives or something. That's why I have to check with people that know the language, you know, am I explaining things the right way? Alright, let's see. Serious Cat is serious here. And of course, how do I explain the Japanese language? Using Garfield as an example. I mean, what else? I did find some Japanese Garfield comics online, but it's like all they do is just reprint the comics in English, and beneath they have Japanese subtitles, basically. However, you can find Garfield in Spanish on the Go Comics website. I read a couple of Garfield comics in Spanish, and it's like kind of interesting. They'll sometimes have to rewrite a few lines because Spanish words tend to be longer or something. So they have to adjust punchlines to be a little simpler sometimes. But I learned from one Garfield comic, like John receives a Christmas letter from home, and it says something like, in English, the chicken had a stroke, but the chicken tasted very good later. But in Spanish, they instead of stroke, they changed it to the chicken had a heart attack, tuvo una farta or something, and I found it funny that I think the Spanish word for heart attack is something like farta. Like, I don't remember if it was a heart attack or maybe it was in Spanish they said a stroke. I don't remember. But it was still kind of interesting seeing. Yeah, they slightly changed it in Spanish, but it gets the same thing across. And there was another Spanish comic where Garfield's watching this ridiculous Christmas movie in English, and in the English version, Garfield's response is like, things are getting out of hand or something. Or this is going too far. But in Spanish, Garfield says, ya están exagerando or something. And it basically just saying something along the lines of, already they are exaggerating. Like, I'm not sure if that makes sense in the Spanish version, but it's just like, I don't know, a little underwhelming compared to what Garfield says in English. Just saying they are exaggerating instead of, this Christmas movie is out of hand or going too far. It might. Yeah, Peter is an obsessed Garfield fan. Yeah, he is human sized and can talk out loud and not like Garfield, who's basically a pet cat that just acts like a human. There we go. I might have to take this into GIMP and like do a straight line or something for the table. That might help me get Peter looking a little more straight. Looking at my this cross necklace. Probably hit the hour mark already. So I'll just quickly finish up this drawing of Peter, and then I might do a quick photo ref where I'm holding a cell phone so I can work on the drawing in the other panel. I could probably take the photo with my iPad looking at me holding my own phone, or maybe I just borrow someone else's phone. Is that hand a little too big? I mean, I'm looking at my own hand. I might shrink this down just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. There's also a great tabby, methinks, because I have one too. What I like to do is blow in her ear and yeah, with our dogs, if we like blow air into their face, they'll kind of flinch. we used to have a rabbit named Starbuck, which is where the rabbit in my comics with the same name comes from. And she was called Starbuck because she had brown fur, and if you blew on it, you'd see a bunch of little colors in Starbuck's hair. That looked very nice. There we go. There we go. Another thing I wanted to do with Peter, since I had him gain a bunch of weight, quarantine weight, I want to like kind of draw him a little, not just looking fatter, but like his body's gotten a bit bigger also, like a little broader shoulders, a broader chest and everything. I don't know if I'll do that with this comic, since the focus is Peter being a teacher, basically. But it is like, maybe I'll do a. I did draw a like a reference sheet for Peter, a new one, but I never uploaded it. I wanted to color it, and I didn't get around to doing that. Okay, I can see like some differences with my photograph, what I initially drew in the photograph. Like if I zoom in here, like I drew Peter's arm going across there, but with, I don't know if it'd be visible on camera, but here I have my arm more straight out instead of going across. So it's like, that just shows you how useful photo reps are. Like, I think a character would pose this way, but then when I actually act it out in real life, it turns out actually it's something else. So I might actually have to move the book over here with a notebook, yeah. Well, like this. St. Peter writing his epistles. Yeah, but this Peter, instead of writing books of the Bible, he, writes commentaries on Garfield. There's another challenging thing, foreshortening on limbs. I might have to draw the table a little more like shoot, not like that. Like this almost. I might have to just go into GIMP or something. It's kind of making Peter bigger also, I think, would help make him stand out a bit more from my other characters. Of course, I don't want him to be as big as Pepper the dog. Peter's just slightly overweight, and Pepper's like a behemoth. Plus, the cat versus dog dynamic. Peter's got a little rivalry with Pepper, I guess. Shoot. A friendly rivalry, though. It's not like I don't know. Peter and Pepper are trying to eat each other. These are fat furs. This isn't a vor comic or something. Peppercorn. Pepper was actually named after a dog that belongs to my grandma, but real life Pepper was a girl, not a boy. And real life Pepper, I might have some. I don't know if the dog is still alive or not, but real life Pepper I think was a Schnauzer or something, whereas comic Pepper was for years he was just an unspecified breed of dog. Like Pepper's just a dog, no particular breed. But then a couple years ago, I decided to look at a book of dog breeds, to finally give him an actual, make him an actual dog breed. And I looked through a book of different types of dogs and seeing if there was any that looked kind of like Pepper. And I found, I think the Chesapeake Bay Retriever was slightly grayish brown, and it's okay, that looks something like how Pepper does. He'll be that sort of dog. That's his breed, if anyone asks. Because with my other dogs, Chuck is obviously a German Shepherd, and Perry, I created Perry after I decided that Pepper would be a Chesapeake Bay Retriever, but Perry is supposed to be a Golden Retriever. Although one major change is that Perry has a much shorter tail. He doesn't have a longer tail like a regular Golden Retriever, and the reason for that is just to make Perry's design just a little bit different from Chuck and Pepper, because they've got longer tails. Now, I don't have a justification for why Perry has a shorter tail. I could maybe say the mutation that gave him his superpowers made his tail grow shorter or something, or maybe it was cropped, or maybe he was just born with a shorter tail than normal. I'll probably just go with he was just born with a shorter tail. Or I don't know, maybe how there's a joke in The Incredibles about how capes can be very inconvenient for superheroes. Maybe Perry decided having a long tail would be inconvenient, and voluntarily had his tail cropped to be shorter. I don't know. That would be a little disturbing, I guess. Kind of reminiscent of the theory that the Star Fox characters all had their legs amputated, so they wouldn't black out when doing barrel rolls or whatever. So I don't know. Perry, when he decided to become a superhero, got his tail cropped just so villains wouldn't pull on it when he's in the middle of a fight. I don't know. Huh. I'll just put the pinky finger back there, so it doesn't look like Peter has only 4 fingers. It's just the way the hand. It's just if I go back to my photo ref. If you just look at the photo ref, the way my hand is, I don't know if it's visible on camera, but you only see, a thumb and 3 fingers. My pinky is tucked underneath. That's something that I find you have to be careful when drawing. Sometimes body parts may be at unusual angles, and you might not see something you think should be there. It's kind of the perils of working from PhotoRef. Sometimes you might want to exaggerate something, but other times you might want to just stick with what the photo shows. Yeah, when I first drew Chuck, well, the first time I drew him, he was in a karate gi. That was just back when he was just a random anthro dog I drew. But then I decided, oh, I like this German Shepherd a lot, and I kept drawing him, and I named him Chuck after Chuck Norris. And originally he didn't wear clothes, but then I decided he'll wear pants or shorts, just so he's somewhat modest. You know what, I might not bother with the pinky, or if I do, it'll just be really, really barely visible. You know, like that. Yeah, drawing hands, writing, difficult. Anyway. There we go. Yeah, this is a wide notebook. There we go. He's got some flashcards to the side, based on actual flashcards I made. I'm trying to teach myself Hiragana and Katakana. And I do have a few kanji flashcards also, but I've only got made like 40 or so. Just for fun, see if I remember how to write this. I think it's Totsuzen. Suddenly. It's probably a very crappily drawn kanji, but hopefully I got the basic shape correct. Yeah, if you remember the Garfield versus Mega Man X and Zero video, if you ever seen that, that'll be familiar. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'll probably reset the stream just so it doesn't go on too long. So it's gonna be BRB in a bit. Yeah, this has gone on an hour and 25. Yeah, that is a bit long. So I'm gonna pause for just like 5 minutes and I'll be back. So BRB. Okay. Yeah, just wanted to. I quickly took a photo ref for drawing of Peter down here. Hopefully I used my iPad. Hopefully it updates. Okay, where's photos? Is there a way to syncing 15 items to cloud? Should pop up any moment. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Oh, I haven't... Well, I guess I'll check the DM really quick since I'm on my phone. Oh, there we go. I see the animation. Mickey's polo team. It's like... I think I recognize the actor. I think he also appears in, like, other Looney Tunes shorts. He's depicted with very large ears, but it's like, I don't know his name. Is it Clark Gable? I don't know. For some reason, I look at that face and I think Clark Gable. I mean, I could be thinking the wrong celebrity. But anywho... Oh, what's that? This prank went too far. I'll check that out later. It has Digimon in the thumbnail, but anyway... Let's, stop lollygagging. Yeah, all I did... Very simple photo. Okay. Is there a shear tool in Sketchbook Pro? I don't remember. Well, anyway, let's take this into... Let me do something really quick first. I just want to check some Telegram messages, but I don't want to accidentally show anything on the stream. Scroll past that crazy comment I read earlier. Yeah. Yeah. I also had Pictara open. Yeah. The Pictara stream I was watching looks... It's going pretty nicely. Okay. Yeah, shouldn't be distracted. Okay, now I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, now I remember the table Peter's on. And also... the extra... this thing. Oops, wrong layer. Ah, damn it. Okay. Oh, come on. I'll just nudge them over a little bit. I might have to make this panel a little wider or something, or because I think the second panel is actually a little smaller than the first one. I'll have to draw Basho a bit closer to Peter also to make it look like he's really leaning in looking at the notebook. slowly. Time goes by, so slowly. Time goes by, so slowly. I did shrink. Oh, good. I did shrink myself. Now, just to distinguish the red sketch lines from... I'll make this like blue or something, just so I can more easily tell the difference. Huh. I'm going to take this into Photoshop, because I like how the shearing tool works better in Photoshop than GIMP. Also, easier to nudge things around in Photoshop. Yeah, since just make Peter and Basho a little more centered. And I could maybe actually move the panel over here. Just give myself a little more space. So I have myself a little bit more space in that panel. There we go. Now this is very compelling content for a comic stream. Watching me just nudge drawings and text around. Wow, this is... There. Okay, just make this a little more centered. I'll adjust. Okay. Okay, there. Just a little bit. There. Make that a little smaller. I don't need an eraser that big. Maybe I don't need it. Let me mirror the... Actually, I could shear Peter just a little bit. Maybe just adjust how his ears look. That could be what's throwing me off a bit. Looking at this drawing of Peter looks fine. I'll probably just work on that a bit more. I forgot I should add the table line here. Nobody streaming. 10 minutes. Okay, just making sure. Just to make the table stand out, I'll make this a green line. Go for oh. I'll probably have to make the table and the flashcard, I guess, blend into this quote-unquote panel, even though there isn't really a separation. I guess I could have have it blur, like, you know, here Peter's outdoors, or maybe in a different room, and then here, I guess I'll have it look like Peter at night, you know, writing in his journal in the dark or something. I'm going to check messages really quick. Well, I probably shouldn't be distracted in the middle of a stream like this. Drink the rainbow, taste the rainbow. Yeah, someone showed off a picture of some sort of Skittles drink in Telegram. And I was like, I would much prefer like actual Skittles over liquefied Skittles, because that does not look appetizing. I've tried some of the different flavors of Coca-Cola that have come out. There was like the marshmallow Coke, which I think was strawberry and kiwi or something. It was for the musician, what's his name, Marshmallow or something. Then there was another time, there was a spicy flavored Mountain Dew. And I'm like, these are cold soda drinks. How can you make them spicy? And, well, they found a way. I guess they just added a lot of citrus or something. And it actually did taste kind of spicy, weirdly. There. There's a chair behind Peter. I actually have some of my flashcards laid about, not as neatly like that, more like I'll just have random Kana characters on them. Hiragana character. Okay, this drawing of Peter really needs a makeover. Oh, it is Clark Gable. Oh, so I guessed correctly. Wow. How did I know that? I've never seen a Clark Gable movie. Is he in Gone with the Wind? I watched that movie like once ages ago and don't remember anything other than the famous scene where he says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." Because that's like, I don't know, the most famous scene in the movie just because I think the Hays Code. Was that pre or after? Was that before Hays Code or after Hays Code? Because I know that movies back then were like very, very touchy on swearing. Or I don't know, this woman showed a little bit too much ankle in this shot. Looks like I put Peter in his normal outfit in this drawing. Like he's got the collar there. So I guess I was going to show him in different clothes or something. I don't know. Well, just to be consistent, I'm going to just have him dressed the same way throughout the comic. I forgot. Usually, when I want a character's head to be round and remain like symmetrical and even, I might put a circle behind them that I make in GIMP. It'll be, you know, a perfect circle, not like a hand-drawn circle, but here I'm just bypassing that. The friend I do puppets with, he showed me a movie called, it was a Marilyn Monroe movie. First Marilyn Monroe movie I ever watched. I think it's called Some Like It Hot. And it involves like cross-dressing. And this is a movie from the 50s. And upon watching this, my first thought was, how the fuck did they get this past the Hays Code? Like, by today's standards, it's pretty tame. But for the 50s, this would have been really, really edgy. There we go. There's his eyebrows. Yeah, much nicer looking Peter. I'm thinking Madonna songs right now. I think it's because at work I sometimes hear them play either old Madonna songs from the 80s or they'll play something from the most recent Madonna songs they'll play. Like they might play things from the 80s or 90s, but they won't go any further than like the 2000s. Like they might play music from 2000 or... I mean, the song that's called Music. Music makes the people... That song. Yeah, because if I just say music in general, people won't know I mean the Madonna song called Music. That they might either play that or something from Confessions on a Dance Floor. Usually the I'm Hung Up. Like, they don't do any Madonna songs past that. You could imagine my surprise when I listened to ABBA's greatest hits, and then they get to Give Me a Man After Midnight, and it's like, wait a minute, this same riff also appears in Madonna's song Hung Up. Oh, that's where Madonna got it. go. Yeah, this is a much nicer looking Peter. I guess I'll have him doing an O. Well, I'm about to say O face, but that has unfortunate implications. Maybe an OIC sort of face, not just an O face, because then that's something adult. There we go. There we go. There we go. I like how this looks. Hayes as in Hayes. If I long story short, it's what the movie industry had before they had rated G, PG, PG-13, and R. Like, there were a lot of movies that, I think in the 20s and 30s, that certain moral guardians didn't like because they were too sexual, or they glorified the occult, or they made criminals look good. So they, like, I guess, I don't remember if it was the government that passed the law, or if this was just a self-imposed restrictions on movies. To appease the moral guardians, they had what's called the Hayes Code. Basically, you can't glorify crime, you can't do things that defame police or defame religious figures. I'm trying to think. There's some really ridiculous ones. I think it might have led to in movies and TV, you can't show married couples sleep. They have to be sleeping in separate beds. You can't depict pregnancy because they don't want anything that would allude to sex. Like even in the most, in the tamest sort of way, obviously no depictions of homosexuality, and that's where queer coding comes from, where a lot of film goers would try to figure out ways to get around the Hayes Code. So they might have a character kind of act stereotypically gay, but then they'd have to kill the gay person or depict him as a villain, just to get around the code. You can depict a gay person, but only if they're evil or something, and you kill them. I mean, there's a similar thing with the Comics Code Authority that came about in the 50s when, in the 40s, comics had comics that were full of horror or violence or thing, and then you had Frederick Wortham in the 50s. He thought Batman and Robin were gay or something, and I think there were even hearings in Congress about the detrimental effects of comics on children. And there might have even been weird conspiracy theorists that thought this was a communist plot to brainwash kids or something, and so the comics industry, in order to survive, created the Comics Code. And similar to the Hayes Code, you can't be too sexual, you can't be too violent, crime must be punished and can't be glorified, you can't defame the police, things like that, you can't defame religion, just to try and make comics as... Oh, and you can't portray drugs in a glorified way, just trying to appease the moral guardians. And but I remember Marvel, I think, challenged the Comics Authority when I think they did a Spider-Man comic dealing with drug abuse, and the message of the comic was drugs are bad, but the Comics Authority like wouldn't print like their stamp of approval because just any depiction of drugs, even if it's negative, was considered inappropriate. And that I think that actually became kind of a selling point of that particular comic. Like, wow, this Spider-Man has gotten way too edgy. Showing you know, drugs are bad, okay? No. Yeah. I read a comic, not a comic, a book called The 10-Cent Plague in a comic book history class in art college. And it details, like, all the crazy stuff that happened in the 50s due to Frederick Wertham and how a lot of comic artists were basically blacklisted. And I also once read a book from the school library, like Censorship in Animation, that had pointed out similar problems in Hollywood with the Red Scare. You know, lots of directors and actors being accused of being secret communists. And it also happened in the animation industry, where, you know, anyone that was active in a union would be suspected of being a communist. And of course, Walt Disney was I think on the what's it called, the Committee of Un-American Activities or something. He was anti-union during World War II, or in the early 40s, and basically went on a rampage in the 50s. And I think you can even find his testimony on YouTube in black and white. And not one of Walt's finest moments. Oh, are you thinking of, oh geez. There's like a whole 2-hour video, I think, on Steven Universe, and what was it? Lily Orchard is her name, I think. I don't know. Sometimes people read too much into things. I can hear kids outside the window screaming really loud. Here we are. Here we go. Here Peter looks pretty normal sized. I mean, you only see him, you know, from the chest up, so it's not like, you'll see his big fat belly. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a tough hand pose to draw. Like, fingers can be very awkward to draw in certain angles, or if they're curling certain ways, trying to hold something. So I'll just draw the phone. I mean, yeah, like I mentioned with the Superman trailer, people were thinking that, there's going to be, I don't know, I guess it's the scene with Lois asking Superman tough questions. I guess, some people thought, is this supposed to be inspired from James Gunn dealing with his own attempted cancellation or something? I mean, it is a bit strange that Lois Lane is going on asking Superman kind of tough questions. It's Here. Ah, damn it. I didn't want to turn it upside down. Turn the beat around. Love to hear percussion. I'm not a good singer at all. Okay. Pointer finger. I might have to make the phone a little taller to fit all the fingers. Okay. There we go. Actually, I think the size of the phone works fine. Maybe just a little bit taller on the top, so it looks like there's enough room for like the camera lens. If this is a camera that this is an iPhone Peter has, or a Samsung or something that has a camera on it. There we go. And since Peter's elbow is covered up by the letters down here, I don't have to go into much detail about what those look like. I don't remember, was it this FC or last FC? There was like a drawing panel I went to. I think it was last year, yeah. Like, one of the challenges they mentioned was, like, drawing curves. Like, if you're drawing a stripe or something on someone's fur, like, getting the curve of, you know, an arm or a leg or something. That's something kind of challenging. And it's something I'm trying to be more aware of. So if I draw stripes on someone's arm or someone's tail, like they won't look out of perspective or something. That's something I'm trying to be more aware of, and you know, I do have a couple characters that are like that, with, you know, Peter with the stripes on his arms and legs, or James, the red panda, with the stripes that go around his tail. Okay, so I think that looks fine. Now, something I should add. If I go back, okay, maybe not. There's probably some pictures there I don't want to show, like strange photo refs. Excuse me a moment. Yeah, it's just I have some pictures I don't think I want to show in this folder. What was I looking for? There it is, the color guide. Okay, let me show you an interesting, I guess, file that I've kept to myself for years. Yeah, let me bring the stream back. Check this out. This is my, I guess you might say, a master document or something. This is how I keep track of all my characters' colors. Yeah, like, it's probably very disorganized, but like for Peter the cat, I have right here his primary fur color, his outlines, and like colors for his different clothes. Eventually, I might try to be a bit more organized and like label, this is their fur color, this is their clothes, this is their pants and everything, this is their eye color. But the only ones that are really organized are the dragons, Human Peter and James, Peter himself, and Perry the Sundog. Just because, just to keep track of like his costumes and everything. But this is the color scheme of all my characters, just so I never forget them. And we'll zoom in. And I need Peter's colors. Yeah, preparing for when I eventually start to color these. Oh. And for Basho, I think, yeah, I had to label everything for the dragons just because they have so many colors on them. It gets confusing. And you can see there's an HK on Yen's shirt because I did a redesign for him. Like when I first started drawing him, he wore a shirt with the flag of China on it with the yellow stars on the red background. But then eventually I changed it to the Hong Kong orchid in support of the Hong Kong protests. Plus, I didn't want people to think that, well, this dragon character, wears a Chinese flag shirt, and therefore he must support China or something. There. I'm going to need those for when eventually I color these drawings. So let's just get that out of the way. Let's see. Okay, I just realized like for my photo, the drawing here, I have I have Basho like bending over, trying to look really close into Peter's notebook, but for my photo ref, I just have myself looking down. I'm not like bending over, getting really close, so I don't know. I might have to do that later, taking a new photo ref where I'm leaning in really close, and this is where this comes in handy, just so I can keep the sizes and everything consistent. Plus their position in the panels. Basil of Baker. Basil. That would be the ferret character. Yeah, not Basil of Baker Street. I made Basil like years ago. Like I'd read somewhere that ferrets tend to be ill-tempered or something, and so I thought I should give my guinea pig Cinnamon a ferret character. And since cinnamon is a spice, I decided to go with the spice theming name, and I named him Basil. But I wasn't aware that the spice is actually pronounced basil. I was thinking Basil from Austin Powers. But I guess it could be pronounced either way, either Basil or Basil. Maybe I could make that a joke, where someone says Basil's name a different way, and he's like, "That's not my name. It's actually this way." Yeah, Peter's ears and face look kind of crooked, so I have to redraw this. Humor time. Well, there is a British mystery show called Rosemary in Time that I watched with my puppet friend. And they're supposed to be gardeners that solve a bunch of murder mysteries. And like one day I looked in the spice cabinet, it's like, wait a minute, Rosemary in Time? They're named after food spices. And what was the term he used? Video cozies or something? You're looking down. Yeah. I think this is one of those drawings where I had some trouble. Oh, come on. I need to fix the screen on my phone because it's kind of not entirely secured. Like, if I zoom in a bit, like having my hand obscured under the page where you can't see any of the fingers. Like, it looks normal in a photo, but when you actually try to draw it, it might look kind of strange because it's like you just see a featureless blob of a hand, under the notebook. Again. tomato. Cumin and oregano. Yeah, those would be interesting names. Of course, I didn't stick with the spice naming theme. I mean, there's Sugar the guinea pig, but she's not. She's supposed to be Cinnamon and Midnight's roommate, but she's not like friends with Cinnamon exactly. The joke would be Cinnamon and Sugar don't mix here. Because in my old comics, they would torment each other all the time. Kind of like how Calvin would torment Susie Durkins in Calvin and Hobbes. It might have been... Maybe that was the inspiration? You know, like... I was either inspired by Garfield, Peanuts, or Calvin and Hobbes, I suppose. Which is, you know, unusual, because... apparently... Charles Schultz and Bill Watterson did not like Jim Davis or Garfield. Yet Jim Davis has, as far as I'm aware, never said anything negative about Charles Schultz or Bill Watterson. So it's like, I don't know, their hatred of Jim Davis is just totally one way. Or maybe Jim Davis like had a beef with Schultz and Watterson, but he just doesn't say it publicly. I don't know. I mean, not that I think Jim Davis stays up late at night thinking about what his critics say about Garfield when, you know, he's got the most successful comic strip in the world. You know, someone complains Garfield isn't funny. Well, you know, if he feels bad about it, he could cry in a pile of money, to borrow the phrase from Batman. Okay, yeah, there's... Yeah, the mouth looks a little crooked there. Well, that's what a lot of people say about Garfield. That's repetitive. And, you know, once you've seen one I Hate Mondays joke, you've seen them all. And there's even a Lasagna Cat parody short where the joke is Garfield is repetitive. Mr. Funny Man. I think that's what the episode is called. Tilt his face a little bit. Looks like he's looking down. It's funny, I once saw a video, I'm trying to remember, like someone was analyzing the Garfield comic, and you know, he's probably just saying this as exaggeration, like, oh my god, it was such a trudge going through, you know, years and years of Garfield. Can anyone read this comic nonstop? And I'm like, me? I read Garfield nonstop as a kid. Yeah, what you consider, like, I don't know, like what was a really big struggle for you as an adult was like literally child's play for me when I was a kid. I don't know, or maybe you know, today's young people are just not used to reading comic strips or something. Like reading, you know, the Garfield comic strip feels antiquated or something. In fact, I remember I did a video years ago. I think it was Vice interviews Jim Davis or something. And, the narration is basically, here's Mike Pence talking about Garfield on the halls of Congress in 2003 or something. Garfield has been around since 1978. The world has changed, but Garfield remains the same. Like, I don't know. It always feels a bit strange where people try to read way more depth into Garfield. Like commenting, you could read a comic from the 70s and it's no different from a comic that you read today or something. It's like, I don't know, are people like... I mean, what do they expect Jim Davis to do in Garfield? Like, get really contemporary or something? I mean, he said in interviews that he doesn't do political humor because he basically admits that he isn't that knowledgeable about the world, and said that he once thought OPEC was a dental adhesive. So I don't know. I don't think you want Jim Davis doing political cartoons because he himself says he wouldn't be good at it, and he's not interested. I don't know, that Vice interview was just very strange to me. And it's why I did a Peter the Cat video with Peter reacting. There we go. Maybe make the ear a little bigger. Point. There we go. There we are. Matt Pat mode. I mean, that is kind of, I guess, the inspiration for things like Garfield minus Garfield, where if you take Garfield out of the comic, it basically, you just have John acting like a schizophrenic, reacting to thin air. And you just realize how lonely he really is. Like a silly comic about, an owner dealing with his out-of-control pet. Suddenly, now he just comes off like a crazy person. And it gives you a different perspective on John. Like, when I was a kid, John to me was like the loser you laugh at. I didn't think he was someone you were supposed to sympathize with. Garfield's supposed to be the cool one, and John's just John, the person you don't want to be. But then, as an adult, finding comics like Garfield minus Garfield, it gives you a different perspective on John, making you realize just kind of how he already doesn't have a life in the original comic, but it's like just how lonely he is, and it makes you realize the way he talks to Garfield is he would basically be a crazy person. And Jim Davis says, he made John and Liz a couple because he kept getting letters from fans saying, please give John a life. He's suffered enough. Plus, John and Liz became a couple around 2006 when Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties was in theaters, where in the movies have John and Liz being a lot more friendly. So I guess Jim Davis decided to make the comics a little more similar to the movies. It is a little... It does feel a bit weird that Garfield and Friends, the Garfield show, the Garfield movies, they introduce a lot of new characters that never appear in the comics. Like, Garfield's mother first appeared in, I think, the TV special Garfield on the Rough, and then later Jim Davis did a semi-adaptation in the comics where Garfield meets his mother, although not exactly the same story as Garfield in the Rough. But then we have the 2024 Garfield movie where we meet Garfield's father, Vic, who was never a character in the comics. And I'm wondering, like, would Jim Davis ever show Vic in the comics? Like, and if he has appeared in the comics, I just didn't know. Feel free to correct me. It is kind of strange. Like, there's old, like, Garfield does reference family members of his on occasion, or there might be things like, special things in the Garfield books where here's Garfield's Uncle Ben before he got run over by a car or something, and then here's Garfield's half brother Raoul, and it's just, you just see Raoul's ears because I guess he's just half of a cat or something. And then John also has a bunch of wacky relatives. I mean, there's the Arbuckle family on the farm, but then John also mentions random aunts and uncles he had. And Garfield even mentions one uncle he had that had a sex change in a comic from the 70s. So it's like there's an example of some really strange humor you would not expect from Garfield in the 70s. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to make... Yeah, I already have Peter, like, pretty large. I guess I'll have to shift him over a little bit. There we go. So it matches his chubbiness from what I've drawn before. Yeah, I drew him looking much shorter. I have to... There's his necklace. How long have I been... Oh, almost an hour. I'll finish this page up. I might have to pause again just to do a quick photo ref for Basho here, and then I'll probably call it a night. I'll probably finish these two drawings of Peter and Basho. Maybe I'll color them off stream or something. I mean, this is probably going to be a comic that takes a while to finish, because I've got like 11 pages, even though the next couple pages is just Peter's head or Basho's head floating. So it probably wouldn't take that long to like outline and color them. Peter's tail. I have to pull out his shoulder a little bit. There we go. Okay, here's the difficult part where I have to draw Peter holding the notebook. And I might end up with a blob of a hand that looks featureless. I mean, it's an easy hand to draw since you don't see it, but it's like it might indicate fingers there still. Because if you look at my photo ref, the pages of the book are like bending. Maybe I'll redraw it to make the pages more straight or something. I don't know. Okay. There we are. Here we go. All right. I might have to shift Peter over, or maybe shift Basho over. Huh. How big do I have Peter's head here? Roughly. Looks fine. I thought the head looked a little smaller, but I think it's okay. There's the rings. Writing. Might have to... Well, I guess Peter could be holding his arms a little higher so the sleeve goes up. I'm just trying to figure out... There's one of his thumbs there. Again, you don't really see his hand that much. There we go. Mirror it just to see how it looks flipped. It looks okay. Yeah, just making sure his necklace is at an okay height also. Okay. Gonna save this really quick. I'm gonna put up this screen again for a moment. I'm gonna redo my hello Wax Badger. I'm gonna redo my photo ref for Boscho. So just a moment. I should make a proper, please wait screen. I mean that's what I want to make next. Where I was gonna have Domino flipping eggs or something as a reference to the Paul McCartney song back, not song, album Back to the Egg. And be right back to the egg. Alrighty. Got my go. Okay, come on. I'm just adjusting the photos I took, cropping them. I'm using my iPad to look at the Twitch chat. So that's why I'm using my iPhone here for actual photo refs. Let's see. Will it transfer over? Syncing 2 items to iCloud. There they are. Hope you had a good dinner, Wax Badger. Yeah, there we go. How long has this been? Okay, hour and 11 minutes, so I'll try to finish in next 10 minutes or something. I hear Dad calling my brother for some reason.
Give me a second. I have not fed Scamp. Do you need me to feed him? Did you feed him this morning? This morning? I wasn't up this morning, no. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so I guess I'll make Boscho's head a little bigger. It's a little hard to... Excuse me. Okay, I think that's good. This isn't a bad looking face. I guess the thing that would need the most adjustment would be his body. check. Okay, just making sure. It's a bit annoying when like a chat or something. Oh, that's probably why. I'll just adjust Boscho's nose a bit. I keep forgetting, like, I did drawings of some of my guinea pigs in the big sketchbook I have. And I wanted to like do a family tree image just showing the relations between everyone. So like there's no confusion who's related to who. Like here's my guinea pig Cinnamon and Midnight, they're brothers. And there's their roommate Sugar who's not related to them. Then I have their parents and Uncle Weird and Aunt Brazil and their grandparents and everything, and basically this giant kind of wacky guinea pig family. Something I am looking forward to, reintroducing all of my old characters, is like doing comics where the old characters interact with the newer ones. Like how I'd say Boscho interact with Uncle Weird or Aunt Brazil. Things like that. How would Shank get along with Cinnamon and Midnight's extended family? I did that one drawing where he and Basil steal their grandparents' dentures that they're hiding around a corner. You know, how would they actually act in person with each other, or in furry? You can't say in person or something with furries. Okay. And it was yeah, that was one of the fun things, doing those character redrawings, trying to figure out how the old characters fit in with the new characters. Because, my comics as a kid, it was originally just guinea pigs. Like, this is a guinea pig world, there's no people, but then they would have pets like cats and dogs and everything, so like, that makes things a little strange, so other animals do exist. And then, adding an Ankylosaurus pet for Cinnamon and Midnight, like, do I still have that Ankylosaurus character act like a pet, or do I make them an anthro character now? And I decide to make them an anthro character if I ever redraw that Ankylosaurus. We're bringing back a character I made for a high school project, Bromos the Malodorous, to represent the element bromine. Like, how does that character fit in? Like, he never actually even appeared in any of my comics. It was just a character I made for a school project, and I remembered, I made this character. Like, what if I did a drawing of him, a more modern one? I tried to message my old chemistry teacher on Facebook asking if he still had that poster, because he kept all our posters with the students made for that assignment to be used as examples for future classes, but he never got back to me. And I saw that teacher updated his photo, so it's like, I know he's not dead or anything. He just, for whatever reason, didn't respond to me, which is a shame. I also had a guinea pig character named Mr. Hetherington, named after a teacher from elementary school. And I just, for some reason, liked the name Hetherington. And I named a guinea pig after him. I don't know if he ever knew that I did that. But, like, I checked on Facebook to see, is he still around? And yes, that person is on Facebook, and it was really weird. Like, one of the traits of Mr. Hetherington, the guinea pig, is that he's got a garden, but it's like he doesn't just grow plants. He grows a mini forest or something. And then I checked the real life Mr. Hetherington, and he's like posting on Facebook, oh, here's a tree in my backyard. And I'm like, huh, maybe the whole obsession with trees wasn't just a fun, silly thing I made up as a kid. Maybe that was actually based on things he said, remembering him from elementary school. There we go. Teeth. Yeah, this does look. Oops. Yeah, it's like when I mentioned Ben the Dragon, that drawing mouths for reptilian characters in unusual angles can be difficult. And this is no exception. I should have probably drawn the shape of Basho's head. But I'm kind of like doing his eyes and mouth first. Kind of breaking the rules for... Well, am I really breaking any rules, or is it just I'm doing what I find comfortable? I don't know. I've had people say that my art style looks retro, like furry art from the 2000s or something, and I'm like, I found the furry fandom in like what, 2007 or so? I mean, the way I draw is probably kind of based on, you know, seeing what my teachers drew in art school, so it's not like I'm deliberately trying to look nostalgic or something. But I guess when you have a bunch of animators that, you know, worked on Disney movies and everything, you know, maybe that does kind of result in a nostalgic looking art style. But I wasn't like deliberately trying to go for a style like that. Osho does look kind of weird when he doesn't have his horns. Again, I might have to redraw this face a bit, or... Yeah, I'm gonna have to make his whiskers look a little longer, because those look too short compared to how I drew them in the previous panel. That's more like it. There we go. I follow someone who used to work at Disney and will gladly vilify them at every opportunity, even if it's a little annoying with how often she does it. Okay, that's a little odd. I mean, I've never known how to describe my style. You know, one of my friends is like, hey, your style is GuineaPigDan's style. Like, wow, that really narrows it down. I mean, if I did have to describe my style, I mean, largely Garfield inspired, but also, you know, having Disney animators and, you know, Warner Brothers animators as teachers, just what I was exposed to. Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes, things like that. Yeah, like, I might rotate the nose a bit because it just looks crooked to me. Like when I designed my dragon characters, for example, I was looking at Mushu from Mulan. You know, people compared how they look to, like, I don't remember what. I showed someone one of my pictures of Basho, and they compared it to Dragon Tales, and it's like, you know, I didn't grow up watching Dragon Tales. It's only as an adult I learned about the series, and, you know, I did one drawing where I did Dragon Tales style with them. I guess also, you know, other furry artists like Ellie Geckos that I like, I guess were influential, and he's very Disney-esque with how he draws. Okay. I even had one of my teachers comment that, like, art college, that, like, the way this subjects I draw isn't what other people like drawing. Yes?
Are you able to mute?
I'm in stream right now, Gabe.
I know you can mute.
Oh. Well, what did you want to ask?
We're gonna go out to eat.
Oh.
Come. You can stay here and keep streaming. If
I can come. Yeah.
Well, we'll be leaving shortly.
Okay. Well, what a coincidence. Once again, I have to end a stream early because my family's going to go out and eat.
Well, you don't have to end if you want.
Well, I was going to end soon anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's just finish this up in like 5 minutes or so, because, I mean, I can... Yeah, I know I'm kind of getting a bit hung up on how Basho's head looks, but it's like... You know, it's different drawing my dragon characters, you know, looking down, than if you see them from the side angle, because I have to deal with, you know, what do their horns look like? And when it came to PBS shows, I don't remember if I ever saw Dragon. Maybe I saw it for like 10 seconds and changed the channel. The shows I watched on PBS were, I think, the Animal Zoo show, I think Carmen Sandiego, and the Arthur show. I remember liking Arthur as a kid. It was really awesome. Like, one year I met I think his name was Ken Pontac, who was an animator and I think a writer. I think he wrote a few episodes of Arthur, and he had a show Bible that I got to look at, like, explain. It's funny, like, seeing the show Bible for Arthur, or, you know, Bibles for the Sonic games, because he also wrote the scripts for a few Sonic games. English scripts, obviously. He didn't speak Japanese or anything, but it's kind of funny, like, they're written for, like, people, like, they have never seen an episode of Arthur, or they have never played a game of Sonic, and they have to explain things, like, Tails does not use abusive language. The jet thing on Metal Sonic's body is a fan, or it's not like a laser. Or, you know, Eggman is, you know, not really a villain. He's more of just sees Sonic more as a rival, and, you know, while he may do villainous things, he can't be portrayed committing actual atrocities. Yeah, and then the Arthur Bible said things like, you know, stories should be relatable to children. You can't do things like ghosts or aliens or plots to destroy the city. Yeah, which makes me wonder, were there actual, like, people working on Arthur that, like, tried to write stories like that where terrorists are going to blow up the city and Arthur has to stop them, and you know, and the writers felt, okay, we have to intervene here and let people know we don't do those sorts of stories. Oh yeah, I think I haven't seen that episode of Arthur, but I think I did see it mentioned in times the children's shows got away with, like, inappropriate content. Have to make the horns a little smaller. A little thinner. There we go. There. Doesn't look too bad. Might make Basho's eyebrows a little bigger. Just to match how they were in the previous panel. You know what? I guess I'll end stream now and finish Basho's body later, but yeah, just so I don't keep my family waiting too long. But anyway, I'll just yeah, sorry. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Follow me on DeviantArt, Weasel, Shitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitch, For Affinity, Cafe Press. You know, like I said over and over, eventually I'll link my Ko-fi or Coffee or whatever if people want to make donations, commission me, buy my merch, blah, 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 blah. I hope you all enjoyed this stream. I feel like I'm going a snail's pace, drawing this comic. Typing everything was the easy part. It's drawing, even though it's not going to be a lot of drawings, it's still going to take quite some time to perfect everything. But thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you all have a good rest of your evening. So, good night everyone. Bye-bye.